Good afternoon. I'm excited for this presentation. We've got two great speakers, two great friends of mine that have committed themselves, as we have, to community service and building better community. We've got Ken Estep, who's a veteran of the Army, which makes him a cousin because I'm Navy. And he was on the enlisted side. He's lived his entire life in this area, right, Ken? Okay. And his last duty station, I believe, was Fort Ord, but he'll clarify that. Which, you know, Fort Ord has now become CSU Monterey Bay. So, except for a couple of gunshot shells that Kenneth left over there, it's all cleaned up. And then Len Duncan is currently the president. Ken is vice president. Len is the president of the Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation, of which I was a founding member of, and Ken is a founding member of. And Len has come in with some great ideas, great enthusiasm over the last couple of years to be the president of the organization. And he too is an Army veteran from the Vietnam era. Please don't hold that against him. And has had his career in sales, and I'm not going to steal his thunder, but he's had some great opportunities to work at various levels of organizations. I'll let Len get into that. But before I start, this afternoon reminds me of a story of Greek mythology. There were two great warriors. There was Demosthenes and Pericles. And you all may know that story, but Demosthenes and Pericles were great leaders, great warriors, great family men, and had a strong desire for service. And of Pericles, they would say when he spoke, how well he speaks. When Demosthenes spoke, they said, let us march. This afternoon, I give you your Demosthenes. You can't get that anywhere else.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, everybody, for having us here today. It's a pleasure. I should point out that until 2011, I lived on the Almaden golf course. And with what was going on at that time, I ended up having to sell my house, which is worth about 3 times more now than I sold it for. So I lived in that house on the 14th fairway on the golf course for 28 years after moving up here from the Southern California area. So I'm Len Duncan. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'll tell you, and I am the president of Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation. I'll tell you a little bit about what I did in Vietnam. I'm an Ohio State graduate. Go Bucks. Big game, Michigan State. I figure that we probably won't win by more than 2 or 3 touchdowns. So I graduated from Ohio State. I went at Ohio State. I went through ROTC, so I was graduated with a commission, and as a second lieutenant in the Army. And I reported to Fort Bliss, Texas, 11 days after I graduated from college. I was married and had a daughter at that time, so we were on the way. I spent a year at Fort Bliss, and then my unit got sent to Vietnam, the entire unit. I was in the Hawk missiles unit. Hawk is H-A-W-K, which is homing all the way killer. I had to give a briefing one time to the pilots from the Kitty Hawk. This was very interesting. I was basically telling them about our missiles versus the Russians' missiles, and our missiles were far superior. That's why they were homing all the way. The Russians just took off for it. One of the guys from the Kitty Hawk had stayed up long enough to take a picture of the Russian missile coming at him before he eluded it, and they eluded it pretty easily. So my unit was sent to Vietnam, and we ended up at Cam Bay, where we were the air defense for the Air Force at, which was the 7th Air Force, which was at Cam Bay. And we were there in case the Chinese ever came in, and because they were afraid of us, they didn't. I'm sure that was the reason. So I was there for a year, our year, because of the strategic position we had defending the 7th Air Force. That was flying missions into North Vietnam, bombing them every day. We had to be protected too, so we had the Marines between us and the Viet Cong, which was good. A Marine sergeant came over to me one day and he said, Lieutenant Duncan, he said, we've got to get rid of, I forget your guy's name, who was a barber in the village. And I'd been in having my hair cut and the knife and everything, you know, all 2 days before. And I said, why is that? And he said, we killed him last night. He was a Viet Cong at night, the barber by day. So that's a little bit of my background. Ken is one of our vice presidents responsible for infrastructure and technology for our organization. Larry Maggio, who's not here, is the vice president, the other vice president for Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation. And Larry handles the events and membership. And we're always looking, we're totally a volunteer organization. Nobody gets paid. So everything that we do and what needs to be funded is funded, if not by us, by our supporters. It's mostly by our supporters. We have a great fan of supporters. The Campbell people are good. They love Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation. In fact, I was asked to do the Pledge of Allegiance at the Campbell City Council by Mayor Liz Gibbons a week ago. And Liz Gibbons, who's the mayor of Campbell, was our guest speaker at our event, veterans event that we have every year. She is a very strong fan of the Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation because her parents were both in the Navy during World War II. So Liz, unlike some politicians, is very, very strong and always supporting us. In addition to Liz, this year we had Major General Rob Oxenburg as our keynote speaker. Rob was also a Vietnam vet. Major General, he and I were there about the same time. I came out as a first lieutenant, he's a Major General. I don't know what the difference was. Another friend of mine, Major General Kenneth Hillhouse, who's the president of the Gatos Memorial Foundation. I mentioned that to him and he said, you had to stay in, Len. So I didn't stay and I came out. I tried to get into the 173rd Airborne Brigade. And in fact, the guy who was the head of the Air Defense Artillery for Vietnam was a good friend of mine, Steve Buchanan, Lieutenant Colonel Steve Buchanan. And I went down to see him when he pinned my first lieutenant bars on. He was in Saigon. We were up at Cam Bay. And he said, so Duncan, what can we do to keep you in the Army? I said, get me in the 173rd Airborne Brigade. Really? Why? I said, I came over here to fight a war, and what I'm doing is okay, but I get kind of bored because we don't have anybody coming after us. So he called the general, commanding general, who he knew from the 173rd Airborne Brigade at that time, talked to him on the phone. He said, I got a fired up young lieutenant that would like to get in your organization. I highly recommend him. And they talked, and he said, he said, okay, you're in, but you got to get your commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Roland Miller, to agree to this. So I flew back up to Cam Bay and went to see Colonel Miller. And he said, so you want to get in the 173rd Airborne Brigade? Yes, sir. You're going to approve that? He said, hell no. I said, why not? He said, because I'm going to get some green second lieutenant that doesn't know what he's doing in here. He said, I'm selfish. You can count it as selfish. So I said, well, then you can come down and say goodbye to me 6 months from now when I leave. So this year in our veterans event, there is a program done by the Department of Defense that gives awards to anyone. You said you might have yours here. I couldn't find mine because I just moved in the last 2 weeks. They give a medal to those who were in the military during Vietnam, but you didn't have to go to Vietnam, didn't have to serve in Vietnam. If you were just in there, you got a pin. So Ken was a guy who was really advertising this, putting it out so we could get people to come. We were expecting 5 or 6. As it turns out, we counted 54 people who stood in line waiting to get their medal and from General Rob Oxenburg. So obviously the advertising that we did do was good. And the one thing we need more is we need more advertising, more presence, and more people supporting us. That's a hint, by the way. So Campbell Memorial Foundation was founded in 2007, and it was finished in 2014. I was asked to join the foundation in 2015. And in 2016 was asked to become the president. So I've been doing that for about 5 years, this job. And let me discuss some of the things we're doing. Number one, we are a totally volunteer organization. As I said, nobody gets paid. So we depend solely upon our supporters to fund our creative ideas. We hope they're creative, and they really are for a volunteer organization. Our primary veteran support is providing scholarships to student veterans. Not too long ago, West Valley and Mission colleges, which are the community colleges that we're supporting their veterans, had not too many years back, they had maybe 10 veterans there. Now they're approaching 1,000. So that's what is being done for the veterans, the student veterans who have gone to the military first, and they're now back getting their education for the rest of their life. We're building an endowment so that our scholarships are automatically funded by the endowment. Each year we host a Salute Our Veterans fundraiser. In 2018 and 2019, it was at the Villa Ragusa in Campbell, which is a very nice place to have that. We haven't had this fundraiser for the past 2 years because of the pandemic and the continuing threatening of the pandemic. We decided not to do it this year. However, the net proceeds from the Villa Ragusa event go to West Valley Mission colleges, community colleges, to provide scholarships to one student from each college every year. And I just got the report, by the way, this morning on our, because we also have good financial support, we basically were going for $50,000 endowment. And thanks to the gain in the market, it's now at 41,000. So we figure when we get to 50,000, we'll figure something else to do, but at least we'll have enough so that the scholarship each year to 2 people, one at Michigan, one at West Valley, will be there, and we won't have to be putting more money in. We can put our money into something else. I also happen to be on the Advancement Foundation for West Valley and Mission colleges, which I've been for about 25 years. I took a 2-year pass from my volunteer position on the Advancement Foundation to serve as executive director of MC2IT, which was Mission College Center for Innovation and Technology. And I think Frank mentioned I had many, many years, starting with IBM after working for IBM after I got back from Vietnam. And I ended up as a vice president at Hitachi Data Systems. And so I've had a lot of years around technology, know a lot of technology people. It's been a good thing. And it's a good thing for this valley. I don't always agree with everything that's going on, but it's a good thing for the valley. So that was a paying job, and I enjoyed the challenges of getting the corporate world. I have many, many contacts in the corporate world. I always try to meet and remember people. And they hadn't been very successful in working with the corporate world, and still aren't as successful as they'd like to be. But that was a good time for me. And then I had to stop being a volunteer on the Advancement Foundation while I was doing that, because I was getting paid, which was also very good. Mm-hmm. So Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation also sells different size bricks, pavers, and large cornerstones, which are inscribed for, excuse me, for a person or organization whom you want to memorialize. If you're interested in remembering someone with one of these memorials, go to our website, which is www.campbellveteransmemorial.org or .com, and see these memorial sizes and their cost, and look at the other things that we do. Also, please come over to Campbell and go to the memorial if you've never have. I know Paul has. If you never have, go over and look at our memorial and the place where we hold these events. Los Gatos Memorial Foundation also has a very well-designed memorial near the Los Gatos government offices. And we combine our talents with the Los Gatos, the American Legion, and other veterans organizations. My other volunteer organization that I'm involved with is with the American Legion, where I serve as the judge advocate and financial manager for Post 99 in Campbell. The American Legion is an international organization, the largest U.S. veterans organization in the world. It's over 100 years old, and it was founded in Paris, France in 1919 by 1,000 officers and members of the American Expeditionary Forces, which were from World War I, of course. One of the founders was Teddy Roosevelt Jr. One of the other founders was Kentucky. I was born in Kentucky, by the way. Anybody from Kentucky is good, except for the basketball team. World War I marksman hero Corporal Alvin York, portrayed by Gary Cooper in the movie, I think it was Sergeant York, for which Gary Cooper got an Academy Award. So that was some of the founding of the American Legion. Known as the Legion, the American Legion is a nonprofit organization of U.S. war veterans headquartered in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's made up of state, U.S. territory, and overseas departments. And there are these organizations, these posts are in U.S., of course. There are 1,400 posts throughout the world, and it consists of 2 million members. So you can see the size and the influence that it has. It was chartered on September 16th, 1919 by the United States Congress, and the American Legion actually has a seat, not elected seat, but a seat in Congress. The Legion played the leading role in drafting and passing of the Servicemen's Readjustment Act of 1944, known as the GI Bill. There are probably some folks here who use the GI Bill. I used the GI Bill for a mortgage one time. The students that are now getting help through the community college at West Valley Mission and anywhere else in education are getting help also from the GI Bill. In addition to organizing commemorative events, the members provide assistance at, and we do this, every year, different things, at the Veterans Affairs, the VA hospitals and clinics. I switched to the VA about 3 years ago. I never had done it, but all of my stuff, most of my stuff that I need, fortunately I'm in good health, I do at the VA now. It's active in issue-oriented U.S. politics, the American Legion. Its primary political activity is on behalf of interests of veterans and service members. Was that a timer?
No.
Oh. Good.
Somebody's joined in.
Okay. So it's also historically promoted Americanism, individual obligation to the community, state, and nation, peace and goodwill. The American Legion is an excellent organization. Our American Legion goes to funerals of older veterans that passed away and provide the color guard for it and the flag that's handed out to the relatives. So the American Legion is definitely a great organization, and they're very involved in supporting veterans. Campbell Veterans Memorial is a small organization, so our focus is more regional and more focused toward currently what we're doing, which is basically supporting student veterans. The American Legion was created and legislated by the U.S. Congress, so it has more influence in obtaining benefits for veterans than any other organization. And those of us who choose to volunteer to serve to serve veterans have great respect for those men and women who put their life on the line during wartime. In Vietnam, over 58,000 Americans died. And if you've never been to the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C., I highly recommend it. It's a very great memorial to those people who died. The Pentagon published a number of 54,360 deaths from the Korean War. The reported deaths of American in World War II, 405,399, and World War I, 116,516. The total Americans killed in all wars is over 1.1 million people. But the greatest loss by far was in the Civil War, where almost half of all the people that died in wars were killed in the Civil War. Almost 500,000 people died in the Civil War, militaries died in the Civil War. Of course, we would all like to see an end to war, all wars, and anybody who's ever served in a combat zone would be the greatest advocate for peace. It's not fun. There are countries and evil leaders like Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, and the Japanese leaders who were Hirohito as emperor and Hideko Tojo was prime minister, a general of the Imperial Army, and he was arrested and sentenced to death for war crimes. Tojo was hanged on December 23rd, 1948. The person most responsible for the planning of Pearl Harbor was Japanese Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, who led the Japanese aviation during World War II. Yamamoto was killed when he was shot down by American forces. They found out where his flight was and they got him. Anyone who goes into a combat area in war is exposed to being wounded or killed. War is not an enjoyable thing, but we all need to respect and treat kindly those men and women who put their lives on the line to protect the citizens who stay at home. And that's the way it should be. There should be a good part of our citizenry that's out protecting the rest. Our military now is a volunteer military, and God bless those who wish to serve. It's total volunteer, has been for many years. So thanks for your invitation to us and the opportunity to speak to the Almaden Rotary. Thanks to my good buddy, Frank Jewett, and other friends here, Dave, for inviting us. We are looking for board members, and you don't have to be a member, ex-military member of the military to be a board member in the Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation. So if anybody is interested, let Frank know, call me, call Ken. And if you're interested in possible joining our board has gone down in the last 2 years for different reasons, people moving, etc. So in closing, I want to leave you with our mission at Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation. Our mission is to honor and support all veterans, to raise awareness of their contributions, and to provide support for their families. Thank you very much.
As Ken comes forward, I was remiss to mention that Ken is a Gold Star father, and he will explain what that means. That his son and working with Adam. Now I'm not going to steal that thunder because you do it too well. But Ken has a distinction of being a Gold Star father.
Well, thank you very much, Frank, and thank you very much, everybody, for having me here today. I have one page of notes, well, maybe two, but it should be very short. Actually, Frank asked me to speak today. I was glad to do so, and he gave me 5 items to talk about. And Len's already talked about the history of the foundation, but I did want to share a couple of things. Since Frank brought it up, let me reintroduce myself. So my name is Kenneth Estep. I'm a veteran, and I'm a Gold Star father. I almost say that with a smile on my face after 17 years, because my first son was Sergeant Adam Wayne Estep. And Adam was, still a shining star in my mind. I'm lucky enough to have 7 other children. I fathered 2, and the other 6 I'm dad, and I continue to help them along. But Adam was the first, and certainly a great lesson in life, and something that continues to inspire what we do today. We lost Adam in 2004, and the foundation started its journey in 2005. So it was an outcome of this in my mind, when then Furtado was asked to create an organization and determine what we could do about veterans. So I'm a veteran. I'm a very proud military police veteran. All right, I only served for a short amount of time, but there's 3 words on there that have lived my entire life, right? Assist, protect, and defend. And even if I wasn't even thinking about it, I was doing those things. You know, I spoke on Veterans Day because it has become my journey since 2004 to speak about Veterans Day and on Memorial Day, particularly on Memorial Day, on what it means to be a veteran and to be a Gold Star family. So on those, I've become quite practiced at speaking about. But today, why am I here? Because I think Frank wanted me to bring a little perspective, maybe a little experience and some insight. I thought your prayer was very appropriate. And the reason that I think your prayer was very appropriate is because Adam, as a young adult, was pursuing his own religion, had actually changed faiths, and was in his own way supporting his soldiers by giving them comfort and peace in the comfort and peace he had found in religion. So, you know, that's a part of the journey I didn't get to experience the outcome of, but I heard the stories. I know what was happening. And we tell our lives and what we do through stories. So what does Veterans Day mean to me? As a veteran was a question that you asked. So today, you know, Veterans Day is an opportunity to recognize those that serve and continue to serve. After spending the past 17 years with a focus on Veterans Day, to me, it is a day to also inspire ourselves and our future generations through recognition of service. And to be thankful for our community of veterans that continue to serve our country, our states, and our communities. And what I started to say was, what I spoke about on Veterans Day is somebody asked me that same question, what's it mean to me? And through all the research that I do in the mornings now, I read a lot of posts of other people, and I don't need to come up with what does it mean to me. All those different posts and things that I read, it was about fortitude and leadership. Because whether you recognize it or not, and whether you choose to accept it or not, you come out of the service with the fortitude to get the job done, right? And whether you choose to use it or not, there is leadership there. When there's a call for action, you will take action. I still do as a military police officer. It just sits there on the side, and then all of a sudden, oh crap, there's a situation to be dealt with. No one else is taking care of it. It's my job. So I really wanted to, that's ingrained into our DNA, Candidly, I could not have led my family through the loss of my son without those 2 pieces of the puzzle, right? I've also grown with those in industry to be a driving force, right? So I'm an E4, I'm happily an E4, meaning that I'm a grunt, I'm a guy that gets in there and gets it done, but I also lead when I need to. And in industry, that's very important. Right, you need to recognize situations. I'm a quality guy. All right, so I went from enforcing laws to enforcing rules. I still do it, and I enjoy, quite frankly, collaborating with a team to deliver a quality product. I grew up from the Vietnam era. So while I did not serve, thank you, Len, and my father and many others that did, I came out of that era, which meant I was told and taught to put my service away. It's done. You've done your service. Don't talk when you go home. Don't put it on your applications. Move forward in life. That's what we were taught. That's what I did until 2004, when Adam died, because service reached back out to me. So I had an amazing, I had an amazing officer. I can't think of his name at the moment. That was the liaison between the family and the service. That gentleman did the most, just the most respectful individual I've ever met. He showed my son respect, my family. There's nothing I could say. That guy took care of so much for us and helped his son to get through that. So it reconnected me with my fellow servicemen, because here was the service officer helping me, right? After a number of years out of being out of the service. So I just, it connected me, where before I shied away, now I needed to find a way to connect. And honestly, that next Memorial Day, the city honored us at Memorial Day, where we now have our ceremony. And in 2005, I was asked to take over that ceremony. And I have been doing Veterans Day and Memorial Day at downtown Campbell ever since. In 2007, when we incorporated it, as I was a founding board member, we brought that on to what we do as a board. And every year, 17 years later, we're still learning lessons. We're still getting the word out. We're still making impact, not only to our current generation, but younger generations as well. So I share this perspective because a lot has happened in 17 years, including this amazing collaboration between community members. I was speaking earlier, I would have never known the mayor, much less multiple mayors or councilmen or anyone in our city, because I was trying to keep it all to myself. I was dealing with other life issues and I kept myself there. But life said, no, you need to open up. In fact, we were ready to leave Campbell, and through the output of grieving over Adam, the city of Campbell, many strangers called my house and said, please don't leave. So we didn't. We bought a home here, and I'm happy to say I'm on my 20-year journey, right on plan. So that's a little bit about me. That's a little bit about what veteran service means to me. Len has gone over a lot of what we have done in the foundation. I'm happy to say we also have a family scholarship in Adam's name, so that learning the process with the foundation as we did, my family also got to create an endowment. So there's more than two. I always consider Adams one of the foundations as well. But we're making a difference when we get to meet these young men and women that are getting the scholarships. They're a part of our future, and they take that with them. It's very exciting to watch them grow and change over time, including, I'll take a little distraction, Adam's service. We got to meet a number of Adam's servicemen and watch them transition through time. And every serviceman needs support at one point or another. And so what we're really about doing is how can we help create that support? My second role right now, and I have information, I'm busier now retired than when I was working, is I also give time at Life Moves. So at Life Moves is a nonprofit to help veterans transitioning from homelessness into permanent housing, as well as connecting them to other services, health-related services that are available to them. And I say that with a smile on my face, because then you've got the VSO, the Veteran Service Office, which is helps our veterans get to their veterans benefits. So this 3-month journey that I've been on so far for 2 years, I'm going to be on for 2 years, is about learning about services that are available through veterans from the VA, through the county, or through nonprofits, and figuring out how to connect all of those. And the third part of our vision, when you look at, I brought this little packet here. This is our speaking packet from 10 years ago, right? So we've been on this journey for a while. And one of the things it talks to, we have 3 pillars that we built our foundation on: honor and remember, which we do every year; scholarships, providing for the future; and then connecting veterans to families and their services. Now I'm all hot to trot retired to deliver that third pillar. And when I leave in 2 years, that is actually absolutely my expectation. We'll see where we are then. In that regard, the couple of the points that Frank asked me to talk to is about what do we need? What can you do? Right? And honestly, 17 years ago, I probably couldn't answer that question, or even maybe 5 years ago. Cisco has taught me a lot about what a collaboration in a community can do. So I'm going to tell you straight up front, Len will be proud of me. We need financial support. Right? It's what makes us go. It's what makes us do things. But we have these great opportunities to sponsor what we do. I'm the tech guy, right? Which means I need to provide the board and our foundation the infrastructure to be able to go to the future. So we're looking for sponsors for funding some of those tech solutions at $500 a year, or or whatever. We need sponsors. So we have sponsoring options, right, on our website, and those sponsors are recognized through our foundation at those levels that they contribute to. We actually have this very cool Soldiers Battlefield Memorial that we want to add to the existing memorial, right? We're just in the plans of it. And I was really looking for that package today because do you all know what the Soldiers Battlefield Memorial looks like? With the boots and the rifle and the helmet. All right, I have that on my shoulder for Adam. All right, we would like to present that and have that available at our memorial. Now, my story is I'm a guy. What does that mean? It means there is a time when I want to go and reflect for my son, and I drive 35 minutes to San Bruno. And I have a 10-minute conversation with my son because I'm a guy, and that's about as emotionally deep as I am. And then I drive back for 35 minutes. I would rather just walk downtown because I only live a mile and a half away, contemplate life with my son, and walk back. And that's the opportunity I want to provide to every member in the community, right? So that's one of our visions. We finished the memorial. We finished a memorial. All right. So when you go to our memorial, take a look at the plaza. It's beautiful. It has bricks in there honoring amazing individuals, including my father and my stepfather. But if you look at the poster or the board that's there, you'll see the real vision, because when we built the vision for our memorial, it was about education. It was about honoring and remembering. It was about a lot more than just a number of bricks and flags at a site. And I'm looking forward to creating that, because that's what our children will see, our families will see, and that's what will build our future. And as I said, the service connection portal, that's a vision that we've had for well over 15 years. And I now see the ability to do that. And once you have a vision, I learned this from Cisco, everything else is in the way. So we're going to have that. We're going to get there. So we're looking for board members, as Len said, project managers to help. More gray matter, the better, right? I'm a twin. I don't do anything alone, much to Len's ire, okay? I always need to work with someone, including you, right? Subject matter experts, web management, social media, communication, branding. I am experienced in all these because I worked at Cisco, but adding my subject matter expertise, that isn't honestly where I want to spend my life. But I do want to make it happen. And with your help, we can. So I really want to thank you for this opportunity to share my son, right? I have a license plate that says Sergeant Awe. So he rides with me every day. All right. So it's tough. Being a soldier is tough. We go through hard things, and as families, they go through hard things. But it delivers amazing things. And certainly as a serviceman, we all have fortitude and leadership. Take that with you. Have a great day. Thank you for this opportunity.
Question for you?
Yeah, question.
Yeah. So you said you have a veterans program through Life Moves.
Yes.
Is there? See, we give money to Life Moves. We did last year.
Thank you very much.
But can it be designated to your project or something, or does it go into the general thing and then they?
Wow, I'm brand new to Life Moves, so I cannot answer
Okay.
for policy and procedure. It would be my intuitive response based on what I've learned over the past decade or so, that you absolutely can define where you want your when someone gives us money through our foundation, we have to be responsible to, it's only for scholarships, or it's for operations, or it's for this. So I would expect I would expect no other nonprofit to act otherwise.
And then my other question was about the criteria for the scholarships. Can you tell us a little bit about the criteria?
Sure. The basic criteria, believe it or not, is service. Okay, so that's the first part. We actually do have some secondary ones, and I have to kind of separate my mind from Adams, because with Adams, we wanted to continue his artistic skills, so there's a little contribute to that. But it was very basic. So our guidelines are service, I believe honorable, everything but less than honorable. So I think honorable or regular discharge, and then actually only a C grade average or above, right? We understood and still do, right? Veterans transitioning out of service they have to relearn how to learn, right? In the service, we're trained very straightforward, boom, 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 right? In college, it's a different environment. Even I learned that.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, the VFW hall that was in Campbell,
Yes.
that got torn down. Why did the city find that necessary to do?
Candidly, I'm on the outside. I'm just a recent member to the American Legion. Len, I'm not sure if you can answer to it. From the discussions, I don't think we have an answer for the city. I know that there was a lot of property ownership issues. And at some point, the county said we needed to do something different with this. And that's where the one on the pond. They did a great honor to our family by raising and lowering a flag for Adam when we got back. Honestly, I was grieving so much at the time, I didn't really recognize the honor we were receiving.
Was that the VFW or the American Legion?
Well, the one on the pond.
The one on the pond, I guess was
American Legion.
It was
Yeah,
American
Legion. Yeah. I called them VFW a few times.
But I was sad to see it go away, and
We were too. I wasn't.
for what reason? I mean, it just seemed like
There was a lot of hanky panky going on there, frankly. So,
the cheap drinks.
cheap drinks, right? And it was a great place. And the county library bought it. And then they found out that because of the
Ground soil.
ground fill, they can't really build on it like they were planning. They were going to put a 2-story building on it. So it's basically sitting there doing nothing. So what happened was that the people who were running the American Legion at the time sold this ground. They got in just sold the ground to the county for $1 million or something like that. And they had to be out in 7 years. Well, 7 years came and went, and the American Legion, and one of the reasons I joined the American Legion was to help Larry Baggio, who was the new commander at that time, help him out with some of the problems that were going on. But it was, it had to do with some bad management in the past.
Okay, there's some kind of building over on Minnesota right here.
That's the other American Legion.
Right.
But it never seems like there's any, it didn't seem like that one. I mean, this one I've never seen anybody there.
It's not that's all that's all that's done. There is a.
It's just like
close.
a meeting,
They have their meetings, They can't do a lot because of the neighbors behind there.
Yeah.
It's a NIMBY thing.
Yeah. Okay, I just was curious.
Yeah, they have meetings
I
there.
drive past it a lot. I've never heard any.
You people will
Any other questions?
No,
Okay.
it's all open. There's no place to go inside. We just go take a look.
The memorial,
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got a great walkway, which honestly is a good example of community connection. That walkway was built just 2 years ago, right? In partnership with, help me, Len, West Valley Church, A Beautiful Day, the nonprofit A Beautiful Day. So one of their project managers is a board member. He put up a project, up to them, and that walkway that you see that comes up from the beginning of the sidewalk up to where the bricks are at, we'll understand that when you go there, was built just 2 years ago with cooperation between Beautiful Day, contractors giving in kind, and the foundation, and even more so the community. Right? It was so cool to have other people come and help. You know, as a foundation, we have core key members that are getting things done. And honestly, I'm not real good about asking for help. So, you know, it's like, okay, let's go get it done.
So the president of the Los Gatos Rotary, Nicholas Welsenbeck, is also.
Yes.
on board of Rotary.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask, like, how involved is like Campbell Rotary in your organization?
As I mentioned to someone else earlier, we have been remiss. 11/11/11. Last time I visited Rotary clubs.
Okay.
All right. So, you know, part of, like I said, our board has been changing. Our lives have been changing. You know, Len's been pushing many of us to reach out. None of us have been taking the action. So thank you very much
That's
for
great.
the invite today. And again, for the Kickstarter, you know, I'm enlisted. A little kick in the butt doesn't hurt. Okay. So thank you all for this kick in the butt. You guys have a good day.
Our annual saluting our veterans event, which we haven't been able to do the last few years. It includes a fine dinner and then a raffle and donations, et cetera. But 2 years ago, I got Al Guido, who's the president of the 49ers, to jump in and donate. So their donation the last time was 4 tickets to one of the games, parking and entrance to all the recreational stuff. I had to call back and say, so I have to put on there what that's worth, and $1,600. So that's from the 49ers that we now have a relationship with. And we have other people that are kind of the same. So what we want to do is reach out to the Sharks and other people. We do get some help from the Sharks, but we want to increase that so that people know who we are, and it's an every year automatic. Like it is with the 49ers.
That's great.
Special thanks to Kenny, Estep, and Len Duncan for being a part of our meeting today and provide some great information about, again, what our core values are in terms of building a better community. So hopefully it's something that we might be able to participate in perhaps next year. I want to thank everyone for coming to this program and participating. Thank you so much.
you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
There's some material up here too, if anybody, and then if you're interested